Our final idea to try to minimize the harm from market power without using the legal system is to introduce price controls. Now, we saw price controls way back in lecture 8, I think it was. And when we looked at that, we saw that price controls were generally not something that economists like very much. Price controls take us away from the equilibrium, and to the extent that the equilibrium yields the greatest amount of economic surplus, those price controls are pretty much necessarily bad for society. But this is a situation in which we've already got a bad thing happening. If we've got a firm that's got a lot of market power, then that firm might be able to use its market power to raise prices, and we could counter that with price controls, with maximum prices, price ceilings in that market. A place where we use this typically is in utility markets, energy markets particularly, but also markets for water and other utilities. So as an example of this, in most states, electricity is a regulated market in which firms aren't allowed to just charge any price they like for power. They have to get their price increases approved by some regulatory board. Now, the reason why we don't pursue one of the legal fixes, like trying to break a large energy provider up into a series of smaller energy providers, is that those large firms are often what we call natural monopolies. Markets or firms where they can produce at a lower price as a single firm than if they were multiple firms. This is typically the case for firms with large infrastructure requirements. So, for example, for a power company, they need those power lines, they need power distribution centers, that sort of thing, in order to keep the power system running. Now, having multiple systems here with multiple power lines, multiple distribution centers, that sort of thing, would very likely raise the cost of producing that power. So that means it's more efficient to just have a single firm provide the service than to have multiple providers. But this comes with the problem of potential market power and increases in prices due to that monopoly pricing structure. And so then we can solve this by making sure those monopolies have controlled prices using a price ceiling.